Hello, boys and girls. Pop my beer open. It's going to be a quick one today. Want to talk about XCOM 2. But honestly, at the moment, I'm pretty much done with this game. There's a couple of things I'd like to do because I never got around to doing all the DLC. But the DLC also makes this PS4 port of the game like really struggle performance-wise. But I wanted to, I guess, give a quick like off-the-cuff review of XCOM 2. Kind of give my thoughts on games that are too long recently, in particular strategy games. I feel like between this and Fell Seal, like I've had a couple of like really negative experiences with games that I thought should be like no-brainers that I should be enjoying because the mechanics are, pretty much there. And yeah, I just kind of give some thoughts. I've been looking up XCOM 3 information to see like if there's another game coming out. It's not clear. It seems like for the moment at least they haven't announced anything for sure. I'm actually going to take just a quick minute here to look up the director's name for the XCOM. Not sure what his official role is. I would say creative director, I guess. Excuse me, I had to stifle a sneeze there. Sorry about this. I should have looked this up before. It's like come on, Julian. Oh my god, they do not want to put this guy's name on here for me. I'll keep kind of browsing this. Okay, I'm not finding it, which is really strange. So I'm gonna move on, but I'm gonna look that up later. Okay, so here's the skinny, I guess you would call it. So I guess about a week and a half ago, I decided that I wanted to play some XCOM. I've recently replayed Enemy Within and Enemy Unknown. I always get those backwards for some reason. I beat them both and was able to do that fairly quickly with very little, de-aging pains. I was a little rusty at first, but I was able to get through it. But, I'm an XCOM veteran by this point. So that was, I want to say, like 6 months ago. Then, after finishing that, I decided to play Fell Seal, which is basically Final Fantasy Tactics Reborn. And initially I was having a lot of fun with that game, and then I started to really not enjoy it. I had a very negative experience with that game by the end of it. I've talked at length about it So I have videos on Fell Seal, but long and short of it, I just thought the game was too long and had not evolved sufficiently from Final Fantasy Tactics. So by the end of it, I just felt like I was playing a game made in 1997 or 98, whenever that came out. Download data. I have 8 turns to do that. So then I was like, shit. Well, that kind of cured me of strategy RPGs for a while, for sure. I still have Valkyria Chronicles 4, which I've made very little progress in. But at this point, after having just now completed this game, I think I'm going to take a long break from strategy RPGs. And definitely what I said after Fell Seal, which was that I feel like I'm going to be very careful the next time I buy a strategy RPG, because I don't want to have this kind of negative experience again, especially with something that I'm going to spend 60 hours with. So I think that's fair on my part. Let's put this guy over here. These early missions aren't too tough. Alright, so anyway, so I finished Fell Seal. I think that was about 2 months ago. I completed it. And then I started getting the itch for XCOM, because XCOM is a strategy RPG, but it also has that other side of it, which is like the base building part of it, which makes it unique. And also the way it controls is a little bit more fluid. Let's take a sip of my beer here. This ingenious interface that they came up with for the game, I think is just so awesome. Where I think I actually prefer, well, certainly XCOM Enemy Unknown, I prefer playing on a controller. I think XCOM 2 is so complex, you really want to play it on a keyboard. And, well, the PC port is much better anyway.
Heading there now.
So, anyway, I was getting the itch. I'm like, man, I want to play some XCOM. So, yeah. Thanks, Tigan. I'm going to get to all these annoying interruptions. Certainly going to get to that in this review. We'll get to that later. That's kind of why I don't really want to play too much, because there's constantly shit happening. Anyway, so I'm getting the itch, and I'm like, alright, should I reinstall XCOM 2? Now, I think I covered this before in a video, but let me just go through it again really quickly. Here's my history with XCOM 2. I bought it when it released on PC. I played it for a long time. I got very far in the campaign, but I never completed the campaign, which was fine because, XCOM's a challenging game. I wouldn't expect to complete my first attempt at a campaign because it's throwing so many things at you. And then there's also something specifically that's broken about this game that I think you probably wouldn't really quantify on your first playthrough. But anyway, so I put a bunch of time into the campaign, wasn't able to finish it, and then I got distracted and never went back to complete it on the PC. And then I kind of got away from PC gaming, so I wasn't really on my computer. Anyway, I never got around to finishing it. Then I think it was about a year later. It was right before War of Chosen came out, or right after it came out, actually. I guess they were trying to promote the DLC. So I saw that XCOM 2 on PS4 was on sale, and it was very cheap. I think it was only like $10. And I think it even had all the DLC except for War of the Chosen in a bundle, so it was super cheap. And I was like, oh, hey, cool. I'll just buy it on PS4 since it plays, it's a series that plays so well on controller. And I'll get the DLC. I decided not to buy War of the Chosen because it was still full price. I thought it was, just didn't want to get into it. And since I had all the other DLC to catch up on, I was like, this will be plenty of content for me. So I started playing the game. I was very excited. But the first thing that jumped out at me was how unfamiliar everything felt, even though I had already played the game. Now, the DLCs do have a couple of changes that they make to the game, structurally. But I don't think it was that necessarily. I think the problem was... Well, I think the problem that the DLC brings is, at least on the PS4, is a performance issue where it seems to really make the game struggle. Like every time you do something, like the game is just feels like the game is having to calculate so many things. And sometimes, I mean, literally, you push a button and there is, I want to say, a full 60 seconds to maybe a couple minutes where nothing happens. And you're like, is the game frozen? And you start to have to look at the UI to see if anything's moving, just to see if your game has crashed, which happens quite often, right? But the problem is that this game has something broken. It's a mistake, basically. I'll see if I can finish this mission up and get us to the geoscape. Because it just, the frequency at which it's throwing things at you, it's just wrong. It's off, right? All right, we'll see. I really want to show an example of this, so let me try to actually finish this mission and get us to the geoscape. 82. See, what? Why 82? It makes no fucking sense. He's 2 blocks away from me. I have him flanked. 82 doesn't make any sense. Where do these numbers come from? It's annoying. And it's much more of an issue than it was in XCOM Enemy Unknown or Within. But anyway, so the other side of this game, the big base building, resource management game, is just kind of broken here. And basically, unless you're very patient and are pretty familiar with the game in general, if you have the whole game and all the DLC installed on this PS4 version, I think you're going to have a really hard time seeing the ending of this game. So like I said, I mean, I've probably played this game total of 200 hours, and I just now finished the campaign for the first time this morning. 4 years after the game released. And I've played the shit out of XCOM. So, I mean, what the fuck is going on here? Now, you can always make a case for well, you're doing something wrong. There's something key you don't understand about the game. I kind of got to call bullshit on that because, like I said, I've been playing these games for a while now. Pretty familiar with them.
Okay.
And you know, if like I said, I finished the game this morning, but I don't think I had some like major breakthrough in my strategy or anything that made me change anything. Like I feel like I'm still basically using the same tactics from Enemy Within or Enemy Unknown. You know, tweaked obviously for this game and all the different things. But yeah, like no like major catharsis or realization. I basically just save scummed enough and efficiently enough that I was able to complete the last mission and finally get there, you know. After missing countless 100% shots, 90% shots. Everybody missed? Everybody missed. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's another thing in this game. God, your fucking characters are constantly missing. I understand having the possibility in a game, but it's so frequent in this game. To the point where sometimes you're like, why do I even bother putting soldiers in Overwatch or even taking shots? It's like, it just feels a little pointless. Again, I'm playing on normal difficulty. And it just extends the missions, like, you know, if I have 4 soldiers on Overwatch, now granted, they're all rookies. It's basically the first mission of the game, the first mission that I picked, basically. You know, why can't this motherfucker walk a little bit farther? Like, I really can't flank this guy. Like, this other guy can walk almost as far. But he's 3 tiles away. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, really? This guy can't walk here? Or here? I don't know. It just seems like you're always one block short. Or you're like 3 percentage points of accuracy short. Or something. You're never where you want to be. And instead of feeling like a challenge, it feels like a chore. And that's my point. And that was kind of what I felt about Fell Seal, was when I went from the hardest difficulty and then I had enough of that and I went to the easiest difficulty. The game didn't actually get a whole lot easier. It just exposed all the garbage mechanics that game makes you put up with. It wasn't a good look. I'll tell you that. That's what made me really hate the game. Because up until that point, I was just like, oh man, I picked the wrong difficulty for this playthrough. I shouldn't have done this.
I'm all over it.
And it turns out, no, that wasn't it. Turns out the game's just bad. Jesus. You know, like, I'm barely making it here, even though I encountered one enemy group, and then another one landed, but they landed behind me, so I had to go back and get them. You know, I kind of wish the game was actually harder instead of just making me do more shit. Like, I don't really feel challenged. I just feel like the game wants me to take another couple turns to finish this mission. And it gets old after a while.
The Advent network terminal is shutting down. This is your last chance to secure the data.
Okay, let's get to stuff like that. Okay, this is, like I said, I've fucking played the shit out of XCOM. This is not my first playthrough on the PS4. Like, I just beat the game this morning. I have every option that I could possibly have to reduce chatter and talking in the game is clicked.
Good copy. Moving on.
And yet,
Commander, we have
yeah, there's
confirmation of
two fucking aliens in the train car. No clue they were there. You know, shit like that. Like, why soldier vision just doesn't make sense in this game? Don't they have any hearing? Like, sometimes there's like a hearing mechanic that's triggered, but not this time. Alright. So, gosh, yeah, like, the hacking is so stupid in this game. It's like, which one of these 20 numbers you're showing me actually tells me, like, how successful I'm going to be?
We've confirmed
Can't fucking
successful
tell.
acquisition of the Advent files. Eliminate any remaining hostiles in the area.
Okay, those little voiceovers, like, every time you do something, somebody pops up to tell you something. And it doesn't matter if it's, like, the 20th fucking time that you've done this specific type of mission where you like sneak aboard a train or whatever and hack something. Doesn't matter. They're gonna fucking tell you. Again, eliminate all the hostiles. It's like, holy shit, I know, I get it. I fucking get it.
Take this.
God. It stops being charming very quickly and starts getting annoying. And you don't want players to be annoyed at your game. Like, when you put these little charming things in there, you do it for flavor, right? Like, oh, yeah, because it makes you feel like you're controlling a squad.
Running low.
But when they talk every fucking time... Oh, there's more of them. Why are there so many fucking soldiers? See, it's just tedious. Like, I just want to be away from here. I don't really want to be...
Moving to designated position.
What are you doing? Oh, I can't go out the door because he's in front of it. Stuff like that. It's like, just break the fucking window and go out. Idiot. There's just too much disparity, like, between, like, how much damage you do versus how much damage
Let's roll.
enemy soldiers do. You know, it takes, like, a whole squad to bring down one enemy sometimes.
Okay.
And then you get one-shotted by some random enemy. You know? Or sometimes you take what you think might be hopefully a calculated risk and leave an enemy or a soldier somewhat exposed. And then an alien just does like critical damage and takes your whole life bar down.
Here, catch.
So the reason I was trying to find the developer's name, the guy who makes these games, is because I know that it's very much a labor of love for this guy. He grew up playing the original XCOMs. I want to say Sam Barlow, but I know it's not Sam Barlow because he's the other guy. But maybe it's something close to Sam Barlow. I don't know.
My ammo's running low.
They're always bitching about something too. My ammo's running low. It's like, shut up! You're a fucking soldier.
Coming fire.
So he grew up playing those games. They're the reason he got into gaming.
I'm on the move.
And basically, like, the first time that he was offered, like, his choice, like, hey, man, you've earned your stripes. What do you want to work on? He was like, XCOM. I want to bring XCOM back. And he's responsible for bringing the series back.
Status confirmed. Mission accomplished.
But he's, like, a self-admitted, not good game maker. like the first chance that he had to make a vertical slice of the game, I think the first 2 times, they failed miserably. But he got other opportunities to go back and rework it, and he finally got some people on his side that could help him realize his vision, and I commend him for that. And it must feel so fucking good to have, gotten into gaming because of XCOM, and to also be the person responsible for bringing the series back. But I know that the games have a troubled history, and like XCOM 2 on PC plays much better than this PS4 port, but it doesn't play well. It's very glitchy.
If every mission goes
very troublesome.
It's only a matter of time before we regain control of the planet.
So I hope he gets another chance. I'm actually a little bit worried because it's been 4 years now since the last game, and obviously they've had DLC. They had a spin-off game that released recently, and in the meantime, there's also been, what's that game called? Phoenix Point, which is made by one of the other original XCOM people, and oh, cool. Yeah, so I got another full squad. Sweet. That worked out well. So, yeah, I don't want to be... I'm going to skip this, obviously.
It looks like we've got our work cut out for us, Commander.
Okay, so
You
first
and your
engineering.
crew have dealt another serious blow to the aliens' efforts today,
What is
Commander.
that? Locked.
Impressive work.
Empty. Locked. Oh, because... Oh, okay. Save that. So, yeah. I hope he gets to make an XCOM 3. I'm sure he really wants to. I think most of the fans, and to an extent even myself, want to see an XCOM 3. What I don't want to see is another game where by the end of it, I am so sick of the glitches and having to reload and having to look past flaws and having to replay so much of the content just to see the end credits on a normal difficulty. I don't want that. In fact, I'm not going to go through that. When XCOM 3 releases, I am going to wait for reviews. I'm going to look at a lot of reviews. I'm going to look at user reviews on Metacritic, all that, because I really want to get a clear picture of how that game is going to play. Because I don't want to have these really frustrating issues with the game. I think XCOM 2 has so much potential. And overall, it's worth the play. I mean, I think, especially now, you can probably find it on sale pretty regularly. It's a ton of content. It's a fun game. The skeleton and the nervous system are good. But man, there's so much wrong with it, too.
She wasn't the type to let the collapse of XCOM stop her research.
So, I want a great deal of polish. I guess kind of like my comparison would be something like Dying Light 2. Okay, now obviously that game hasn't come out yet, so we can't really judge it. But the whole premise of Dying Light 2 is, hey, Dying Light 1 had so many good things about it that were unique to that game, but we want to address the problems with it. One of the main ones being the terrible story in the first game. So they made a big show of saying, like, hey, we hired Chris Avellone. He's going to write us a great story. Hopefully that turns out to be true and the game turns out to be much better. But that's kind of what I want to see from XCOM 3. You know, like I want the dev team to be like, hey guys, we've been working on XCOM 3 and we've been listening to your feedback, and we're not going to have the game crash constantly. And when you hit a button to enter a menu, it's not going to take so long to activate that you're going to wonder if your button input went unnoticed. So you'll push the same button again, but now it turns out that it was noticed the first time, and now you've made a mistake. You've made a permanent mistake in XCOM, and you've like sold something or dismissed a soldier or skipped a mission that you didn't intend to do because the game is so fucking broken. Okay? And now we're going to see what I'm talking about, because we're going to go into the map screen, the geoscape. And this is different from XCOM 1, which was a lot simpler. And in theory, I like what they're trying to do here, but in practice, it does not work. And like I said, this is one of the things that's exacerbated by the inclusion of DLC, because it basically makes the game so complex that it doesn't know what the fuck it's doing. And I've had most of my crashes have been in the geoscape. So let's go into it. Again, this is like very early in the game. I literally like started the game, did the first mission, which you don't really have any control over. You get to set up, you know, some of the like the basic things like engineering and research, and then you get tossed into your first mission, which obviously results in your first engineer. And this is kind of like where the game really starts, right? So let's get into it.
Local resistance forces in the area can get you into the site, but you will need to make contact with their network first. This is only the beginning, Commander. Your leadership will be a beacon to our people across the globe.
Now this is great for atmosphere, so the first time you're playing the game, you might appreciate this a lot. After playing the game several times, you start to notice things like, okay, well, all I did was hit the button to go to the bridge because I wanted to select the next thing that's going to happen in the fucking game that I bought, right? But right away, your control is taken away and you're taken to this mission. It's like, okay, fine, you're trying to show me this mission, it's an objective, you're letting me know it's, you know, it's something that I need to keep in the future. But you're interrupting my gameplay, my flow to, well, first of all, I have to listen to some audio to get some important information. Well, yeah, semi-important. I guess you could skip that. But it's just a lot to take in, right? Okay, so basically it's telling me you need to do this thing, but you can't do it right now. Already that's kind of annoying.
Commander, you're not gonna believe this. We just picked up a signal from an emergency locator beacon. It's definitely one of ours, from the original invasion. I know it sounds crazy, but if there's any chance some of our people could still be out there, I think we owe it to them to find out.
Okay, so once again, I still do not have control. Okay, fine. It's early in the game. You're trying to show me around. I wish you could do it in a more elegant manner than just taking me, you know, from audio byte to audio byte. But here we go. Here's another option. Now it's giving me the option to investigate, which will move my ship, advance time while it moves, which fucking takes forever too. I don't know why this ship takes so goddamn long to move across the map. Or I can ignore it, right? Which is actually what I'm gonna do right now. I just want to have a second to think about the game. Okay. So here's the thing. Look at Avenger, R3. There's my ship, which is my base. In order to do anything on this map, I need to move my ship there. Okay. Now, he didn't explain this, but this is DLC crap. I already know that. And it's way too difficult for me to be doing right now. So I'm going to ignore that. Now, I have these options. I have that. I have that, which was what I was doing before that mission started. I can go to headquarters and gain intel. I can also change that bonus to something else. And that's an option, but it's locked, so technically not an option. But at least it's letting me know it's there. And then later, I basically need to make contact with other parts of the world, but apparently it's not going to even let me do that right now. So here's the thing. So this is what I want to do, is I want to get this engineer. So I'm going to choose this. I'm going to hit X. Now notice my ship is right here, very close by. Stockade. Okay, that's what I want to do. My ship needs to move over there. Now it's done. That's a long fucking time when you take into account how many times you need to do that in this game. Okay, I'm going to hit X to actually start the timer. Okay, so now I'm actually procuring my engineer.
Can only further our advances, Commander.
Okay. This is kind of incredible, like how I was kind of afraid that, it's not going to do it this time. But no, like the game is just like this. So I started doing that research for that engineer. I must have gotten about 30 seconds, and then it's like, oh, your research is done. Something else popped up. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I guess that's good. I'm going to assign some new research. So now I can make a nanoscale. Best. Yeah, I think I want to...
I foresee a number of valuable applications.
Oh, wait.
From this
Change.
technology. I'll have a report assembled as soon as the research is complete.
28 days. No.
Commander, we've already dedicated considerable...
No, you haven't dedicated shit, so shut the fuck up.
However,
See, that's what I'm talking about. But the game's always complaining to you. It's like, hey, are you sure? Now notice, none of the timer has gone down. It's still 5 days that I need to do this engineer mission. So nothing's changed. Like, I haven't made progress on that. Oh my god, it's like a miracle. Okay. This is my favorite thing that this game does. The timer wound down. It looked like I'd actually gotten to the end of it. You know, I was like, holy shit, it's going to let me finish and get my engineer before anything else happens. But no, at the very end, it interrupts that to do something else. You cleared the alien debris. Great. Great. So now I don't have my engineer yet. I only have the one that I got from the other mission. But I haven't recruited the other one yet.
Guerrilla Tactics School construction initiated.
Okay. Back to the bridge. Let's try it again. And I finally got my engineer. Got it. Now here's the thing. Look at these options. Okay, look at this window that popped up and look at the very bottom. Look at the options. OK, X, which is, I think the button most people normally are going to want to hit to advance through a text screen. OK will close the text box. Square will actually fly me back to headquarters. Which is weird because, there's no reason why I couldn't just do that on my own anyway. But that's a weird option that this game has. Now, certain things that you do on the map will actually reverse those options. So if you don't, literally, slow down, take your hand off the controller, and observe every button prompt carefully, you can seriously fuck yourself up. Great. So here's what I want to do. I finally got my fucking engineer. I want her to clear some fucking debris. Okay. Now this is, probably doesn't seem too severe right now, but trust me, like, once you start getting the DLC involved and you start getting a little further into the game, this map screen is bananas. Is completely bananas. You would not believe how fucking crazy this gets. And it gets to the point where, like, you start to lose track of what's happening in the game, even if you're playing continuously. Never mind if you, like, make a save and then put the game down for a month or 2 or 6. I came back to the save that I eventually finished the game on this morning, and by pure chance I was able to, like, recover basically a game that was halfway through, and I was able to acclimate and figure out what I was doing, and was able to finish the game. But it was like it was a very slim margin at the end. That's pretty hard, man. Again, on normal difficulty. So, see, like, why is this DLC crap? Why are you throwing this at me right
Avenger
now?
plotting new course.
Wait, so yeah. Right at the second where I was going to get out of there because I don't want to do the mission, I'm just trying to advance some time, something popped up. I have no idea what it was. I have no idea what I just missed. Cancel mission, time sensitive, view mission. Okay, well, thank God you gave me a second chance to do it.
Setting course for East Asia.
Okay, so I think I've made my case. I was actually forced to rate this game very low. Having now completed the game, and you know, I think once you complete a game, I think you can give your opinion on it. You can always give your opinion on anything, but I think once you've cleared a game, you can give an authoritative opinion on the game. Let's put it that way. Oh, everybody's healed up. Sweet. So let's put this fucker here. I'll put this fucker here. And bring our rookies along. Get them to have a class. I would rate XCOM, Enemy Unknown, and Enemy Within. To me, those are basically the same game. I would rate that a 9, like a 9.5, very close to a 10. They are also, like, pretty glitchy games, less so than XCOM 2. And I guess you could say they get a little bit repetitive, so they lose a few points from being completely perfect. But I think I would recommend XCOM to just about anybody. Being so excited to play this sequel, and at first being, like, so enamored with it, because I was like, oh man, they nailed it. They, like, improved everything. Excuse me. Oh my god, choke. Oh, do I have weapon upgrades already? Advanced repeater. Huh. I never use shotguns in XCOM. Only assault rifles. Fuck the shotguns. They're so dumb. And I have this thing where I color code my classes. So there's no confusion. I'm dyslexic, so I use little tricks like that to help me out. But yeah, man, like, it's just hard when you, regardless of your excitement for something ahead of time, you got to finish strong, right? So I think even if I'd never played XCOM, and this is my first experience with XCOM, I think I'd be coming away from this kind of scratching my head and being like, what the hell? So yeah, to me wait, what? Oh, there's all these other options now. I think red is the right choice here. What sticks out more with red? White? Sure. So, yeah, anyway, I think I want the, I really want the next game to be a solid home run. That would be so awesome. To just be like, man, the first one was so good. Second one, they tried, but, you know, kind of stumbled a little bit. But by the third one, they really got it together. So I hope that happens. Like I said, I'm a little bit worried that a third game hasn't been announced. Like just now when I tried to look up the guy's name, I still can't remember it. I did get a little worried that his name isn't readily available. Makes me think maybe there's something going on in the company, and maybe Firaxis or XCOM is in a little bit of trouble. Could be. Never know. But I hope they really improve. But again, like I gotta hear reviews. I gotta watch out for myself and save myself, you know, hours and hours of frustration. Because lately, it just feels like games are getting so long. Everything you play is such a commitment of time. You know, to finish or master a game, which I think is ultimately my goal. Generally, there are some games that I just kind of play for fun. But generally, if I buy a game, finish the campaign, or if it's a multiplayer game, I want to like advance to a point where like I feel like I've mastered the game enough to be successful. You know, even if I'm not getting like 20, 30 kill streaks in Call of Duty, I will play any Call of Duty to the point where I'm in the top 3 for at least one round. You know, and that's when I feel like I've beat that game. Like I said, PS4 XCOM 2 might not be finishable for everybody. Vanilla XCOM 2 with a lot of patience and a lot of tutorials and a lot of probably looking up videos on YouTube or just making notes. This is one of the few games that I actually make notes for. Yeah, you can. I guess you can finish it. You'll get there eventually. I did. It only took me about 4 years,
This 1-5, we have a confirmed location.
about 200 hours.
Move to rendezvous. Eliminate all
Ooh,
hostile
VIP
contacts.
missions are kind of tough. There's ways to do it. I mean, I had already developed a lot of good habits in XCOM 1 that I brought over to this game. Like this thing, like I have 2 saves. I have a save that I make at the start of any tactical mission, and then I have a save that I make after I successfully clear a mission, which means the start of the strategy side of the game. And I just go back and forth between those. You know, if I make a mistake and I feel like I need to go back, I can always go back to the next soonest thing. Let me show you that again. So this top one is the save that I made just now at the start of this mission. So basically I have this whole mission now to like do whatever I want. I can experiment. If I want to, I can try to send this guy out ahead. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe there's a bunch of enemies here and they'll get triggered. But it doesn't matter because I can always come back here and start at square one again, right? Generally speaking, more so in Enemy Unknown and Enemy Within than this game, you can't go too wrong. You can't make too many like permanent mistakes. The game is balanced so that you can usually clear a mission, assuming you're bringing your best equipment and best soldiers. You can usually clear a mission. You can usually find a way to clear a mission, even without losing anybody. But sometimes the margin of error, especially here in XCOM 2, is so tiny that you might find yourself reloading a save like 20 times just to find the right angle to like shoot an enemy from and not miss. You know, and I think that's when it starts to like really wear thin, is when you're like, I don't feel like this was that difficult. Anyway, I was thinking about just playing this for the hell of it, but I really do want this to feel like a review, and I feel like I've said basically everything I have to say. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. But yeah, XCOM 2, unfortunately I have to rate it very low, especially on PS4. I have to go with a 2. 2 out of 10. But yeah, it's that problematic. You know, as a series veteran that took 4 years to finally complete this game, I don't think that's acceptable. And I don't think it's acceptable also. Like last weekend, I did a stream where I streamed for basically like 4 hours of all of the same mission, just reloading and reloading and reloading until I got, some favorable results. That's a little too much on normal difficulty, if you ask me. The glitches in general, like the game looks great when you're standing still, and then as soon as you start moving and you see all the glitches, especially like right now everything's intact, but once stuff starts getting destroyed, you get a lot of visual glitches. It's hard to tell like what floor your enemies or characters are standing on. That kind of error in presentation shouldn't be there. I mean, just make the game run on the hardware that you're going to run it on. And if it doesn't run correctly, you need to take something away from the game. I think on PC, I would rate this game higher because the mods will take care of some of the quality of life problems that the game has. But I have to say, even on PC, it doesn't run very well. So, I don't know. I guess I'd give it like a 6.5, 7. There's a lot of content, but man, it can feel like a slog. Obviously, if you're a hardcore like strategy RPG fan, if you're a hardcore XCOM fan, you probably don't care what I have to say anyway. But yeah, the game does have an appeal, and obviously I'm here, still playing it and still talking about it, and still hoping that the next game is an improvement, because there is something special about XCOM. But it has to be the good special, not the bad special. Anyway, that's it for me. See y'all later.